Welcome, everybody, to the Wednesday, February 16th regular Board of Education meeting. Please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Paulette Frias, Judy Boucher,
Here.
John Green,
Here.
Scott Latham,
Here.
Brian Tobin. In the event of an emergency, visitors are advised that they may exit this room from the one side door which leads directly into the parking lot. In the event of an emergency, everyone is asked to move away from the building and do not attempt to leave in your automobiles, since this may cause traffic problems and block incoming emergency vehicles.
Thank you, Patty. Okay, this time the board would invite anybody who wants to make any comments or has any questions about anything that is on the agenda to do so now. Nope? Okay. Our next order of business is our consent agenda, and this is where we approve our minutes and special education placement, financial matters, budget. We have some contracted services. We are surplusing some old equipment from the radio station and a whole bunch of other stuff. Wow, it's a page and a half. And that's about it. Do I have a motion or to accept this consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Second? You got both of them down there? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Old business. Dr. Morrow, you're up.
Okay.
Old business and superintendent's report. We're pretty much.
Put it all together.
Okay. Thank you.
As many of you know, we put out our stakeholder surveys earlier in the year, and I wanted to just share some of the information for it. It's a fairly new process for us. Some people call them satisfaction surveys. We do ours with PLC, who is a company that we contract with. We started to work with them December of last year. We have in-person meetings with them. We have done Zoom meetings with them. It's focused on knowledge of leveraged leadership, improved transition. We picked a number of these topics, improving instruction, reaching new, NYSED compliance. You know that we had a number of compliance issues from the 2018-19 school year. I know that I put in the update that all 27 of them have been cleaned up, and the state has released us from the special ed compliance. We still are, a school needing improvement because for 2 years there's been nothing to really get us off that list. There's been no assessments, there's been no regents that have been able to count, and so PLC works with us. I'm not going to read through all of this. It's self-explanatory. We'll post it up on our website. They are grant-funded. I'm sorry. We pay for them with grant money. What they do is they cite you, and then they give you a certain amount of money because you are cited, and then tell you how you can use it. So we're lucky that some of the areas that we wanted to use it in were areas that we didn't necessarily have things in place. So we were able to use that grant money in those areas. PLC is one of them. So the purpose of working with PLC and the purpose of doing these surveys and breaking them down and going through everything is, we want to continuously improve. All corporations, all entities, all businesses, all school districts should want to continually improve. And this is part of that work. We invite input and voice from all of our stakeholders. We identify our strengths, and then we look at areas where we need to develop next steps. And then I put a nice quote in there for you, which I won't read. So the data triangle survey. It's called the data triangle because we utilize what's referred to frequently as the educational triangle. The survey is designed to support schools and districts in assessing areas that we show strength and areas where we need to work on to improve. The 3 points of the educational triangle are your community and your family, parents, and then all of your employees, and then your students. And those are the three the three subgroups that we surveyed. So the survey design is performance benchmarks are organized into correlates. I'll go over the correlates on the next page that are based in best practice in research, leadership, instruction, students engagement, things like that. And then, we align them with our current activities and we send them out. We utilize these correlates. PLC, has done the research on them, and they're part of best practice when it comes to, running a school district and running a school. So leadership, curriculum, teachers, the social emotional piece, and then family interaction and family support. The Likert scale for it, there is strongly agree and agree. If you have over 75% of the people that take the survey strongly agree to a certain area, that's considered an asset to you or a strength area. If you have between 50 and 74% that somewhat agree, that's considered an emerging strength area. Those two put together would be your satisfaction areas. Then you have disagree and strongly disagree. Those would be possible risk areas or areas for us to focus on to try to improve in. So when you look at the three areas, school performance and faculty and staff, if you look at it, you'll notice that 94% were in the agreement areas. So 94% positive. Just examples, some examples of different assets, strengths, and possible risks. Teachers feel that they challenge students in school. School leaders promote a growth mindset. Is something that teachers feel. And then, areas that we need to, an area that we may need to improve in, we need better data systems to track student progress. And then I included a couple of comments that come. Every survey that we have has sections where people can comment and provide comments. Many of them are extremely useful. Some of them are not as much, and then some are clearly a person that just wants to state their opinion about something, but the majority of them are very useful. Over the past years, this one happens to do with the pandemic, and then if you look at the rest of them, again, I won't read through all of them, but I put some from the asset, some from the emerging strength, and some from the possible risk area. Because again, this is where our work is, and I'll explain what our steps are through this and also what we've started doing already. So when you look in the family and the community engagement piece, 84% of them, agreed that we were doing well in many of these areas. 16% that we have possible risk areas where we can look to improve. One of the things, and it's this first one up here, I don't know how to use the pointer on this, but the first comment on the bottom, which came off the comment sections, is something that was universally mentioned throughout all three surveys, is the fact that there's connection with students. Students mentioned the fact that there was connection with their teachers. Parents mentioned the fact that there was connection with their teachers. Teachers mentioned the fact that there was connection, with the students and parents. And so, there are some areas that we're very strong in, and then there are other areas where we have opportunities to look at. The student voice survey, go ahead.
What's the number, go back, what is the 139?
The 139 is how many parents took the survey.
What is the 8 then?
That means there were 8 asset areas.
Okay, thank you.
So there are
8 asset areas, and your
Yeah.
overall score was 32% in the,
32 that would be considered assets. So that means they're,
right,
92%, 88%, that, really high. And then the 13% are people agree with those areas, but not as strongly as the others. And then the possible risk are areas that people believe that we're not as strong in.
gotcha, okay.
Yep. Student survey, again, was 86%. Asset areas, technology showed up on every survey as an asset area. My teachers believe I can succeed is an emerging strength, and then our curriculum is challenging. It was interesting that our students felt that our curriculum could be more challenging. To that point, like I said, at the end, I'll share with you some different things, because we've started to break down this data, so we've started to come up with plans, and, you probably saw it come out a week ago, all the different electives. That was a result of some of these surveys and some of these comments. So, again, there's a few examples of comments that are on there. At times it can be challenging it can be difficult to challenge yourself. Then there, on the top are the ones that are more from the asset area. So, next steps. We're in the process where we are unpacking the data triangle stuff. It's a lot of data. There are hundreds of survey responses, hundreds of comments, so we are in the process of unpacking it with our administrators now. We have already met with PLC. The next step is that we meet with each other. We will then unpack it with our faculty and staff, and then we will start the process of creating strategic plans. Each strategic plan will have an area, so, an area that was noted might be, parent interaction at school was an area that showed up in some of the surveys, or communication, or a more rigorous curriculum, whatever it may have been. Those are examples not necessarily off of ours. We would come up with action plans for those each individual areas, and then, a measurable action plan where you can, you need to be able to come up with measured improvement in areas to make sure that, you're looking at them correctly and trying to improve. So, those would eventually lead to future, goals for our district and the way that we're going. We have, the data area was in numerous comments. It was also noticed. It was also noticed when we did a survey last year with our elementaries and not the whole district. We're in the process of using iReady now, K-8. We just did our first sessions of reading and math, which will give us, it'll give us benchmark data on all our K-8 students district-wide, so that our kids coming from the elementary to the middle will have a common set of data. Our students going from first to second will have a common set of data. Eventually, what we'll do is we'll get to where we do it 3 times a year. It's all computer-based, it's relatively quick, and it will gauge their reading and math abilities and show their growth, and give us opportunities to see if kids are struggling without, having, without it sneaking up on you, because we'll be doing it 3 times a year. And those are things we started adding already, and we started meeting on a number of these things. The courses, trying to make it more rigorous, offering different APs, partnering with some of the colleges so that you have the access to get college courses, which creates a more desirable situation for students to take the more challenging courses, because then they can walk out with college credits for them rather than just high school credits. So we've started a little bit of the work in these areas, but we have a lot more to go. Overall, the surveys were resoundingly positive. The lowest areas were in the mid to upper 80s from a subgroup, but it also gave us areas to focus on and to target on, which is really what you want when you do survey work. You're trying to get your stakeholders to provide you with information that you wouldn't have yourself. So that's the goal of them. If we have any questions.
Guys have any questions? No questions?
You take the survey?
Yeah.
Yeah. No questions?
No, I don't think so, yeah.
It was interesting, the student comments from both buildings. The comments were asked, the way the survey asked for your comments was, they asked for a positive area, they asked for an area that you would like to see improvement in, and then they asked for anything else you would like to add. And the student comments were really, really constructive. A lot of great ideas that we can hopefully weave into our decision-making as we continue to unpack. It's a lot, like we had 400 and something students, because we went 3 through 12 take it, so it's a lot of comments and a lot of information, but it's really, really good information. And, like I said, it includes, it includes all of our, stakeholders, and we get, everybody's opinion on all the different things that we're doing. So, thank you.
Laura, I just have a quick question. 139 parents was district-wide?
Yes. Yeah, that was a district-wide number. Excuse me?
What if that was
There are a number of multiples where they would have only answered once for their household. You know, we've done a lot of surveys over the last 2 years because of everything that was going on, and I think people were a little surveyed out because we typically get a little bit higher response than that. You know, so hopefully as we go forward, and I don't know if this is, you know, I don't know if a survey is something you do every year, because it really is a tremendous amount of data. When I was a building principal, I did my satisfaction surveys every other year. And it gave us things to focus on. And, you know, there were things on it that you saw that made you feel really good. And then there were things on it that you saw that made you feel like there's good work to do in other areas. So, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Moore. All right. Continue. We have our personnel now. The superintendent is recommending that we approve the following. Employees leaving the district. Francesca Reardon will expend childcare leave through April of 2023 and then through the end of the year with a family medical leave. Stephanie Oliver, medical leave from February through March. And employees leaving the district, Evelyn Sosa. Employees entering, part-time permanent, Kathleen Martini as lunch monitor. Change of status, Annabella Harvey as teacher aide to a 6-month probationary appointment. As an office assistant, Spanish speaking, okay. And I think that's it, right? There's no addendum. No addendums? Okay. Do we have anybody questions or comments on the personnel? Can I get a motion to?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. The school calendar, Dr. Morrow had that sent in our update. I didn't print mine out, but I had no issues with it. Did you guys get a chance to see it?
Yeah, fine.
I mean, we reviewed the draft, and there was nothing earth-shattering in it.
It's a very tight year list next year. There's not a ton of choices.
Yeah, no, we saw that, so, okay. So no questions, so we need a motion to adopt the 22-23 school calendar.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay. No finance committee report. Building committee report?
Nothing to report.
Nothing to report. Policy?
Nothing.
Okay. Anybody have new business? Not at the moment? Okay. And we are up to our second hearing of visitors, and this is where we will take any comments or questions about anything related to the school within reason. Just please state your name when you come up, please.
Might have to tilt that. I think I kind of stuck it up in the air. There you go.
Good evening. Well, it's a little louder than I thought, Dr. Morrow. You were balancing it out. My name is Keith Benson. I'm a proud parent in the school district of an 8th and 11th grader. My wife, Claire, and I have been a little more active in the meetings. You may have seen us there. Not saying too much, just observing. And just first want to say thank you. Appreciated some of the discussion over the last months into the year regarding the mental and emotional health of our students and taking a lot of things into consideration. I'm also a local pastor in the town in True Light Church in Southold, and you may have received an email from me last week personally inviting you to something that'll be going on here in our church tomorrow night. But first, the same thing will be going on in the school districts in Greenport and Southold throughout the day tomorrow. And again, just want to thank Mr. Rush. I know he's not here, but just want to thank him for allowing us just to be partnering with the school and a couple of other organizations to bring that. So I do want to just put this in your hand. And again, give that personal invite. I realize not everyone's going to be able to be here, whether it's in our community or within the school or the board. So just wanted to give you that personal invite to come on out. We wanted to make that available. We thought it was something important. And one of the organizations is going to share a little bit as I'm handing these out. This is Mrs. Kristin Oliver.
Hi. My name is Kristin Oliver. I'm Ryan's mom.
I'm sorry, you're whose mom?
I'm Kristin Oliver. I'm Ryan's mom. Ryan took his own life 1 year ago. He was a 10th grader at Mattituck. He's missed every day. There are really no words to describe this kind of pain. Out of this hurt came something special, the Ryan's Team Foundation. I want to thank you for allowing us to help you host John tomorrow at the school. As educators and parents, I feel like we fill so many roles, but maybe to love into these children's lives is the most important thing we can do. We can show each of them how loved and special they are. Love could be our legacy. It's Ryan's. Their mental well-being is everything. Especially through these times. Programs like the one tomorrow, I hope will inspire them and give clarity. So thank you for what you do for this district. Hope you know you're appreciated and you make a difference. Thank you for the mic.
Thank you.
If you'd be willing to share this information, I don't know, on the school website, just to spread it through the community, that would be appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You guys have any questions for Mr. Benson or no? No, you good? So will we be able to get something up there, maybe tomorrow's?
Yes.
So they're doing a program in the school?
They're doing an assembly, they're doing multiple assemblies in the high school.
Right.
Yes.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Oh, good. Okay.
I sent you a link.
I did read that.
With all his stuff about a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
All 3 of the high schools, working with you guys who really kind of found the information, decided to do it. It's a character development, self-esteem. He does things that engage kids in the fact that they enjoy what they're watching, and then he has conversations about really serious topics.
Right.
Around things that are kind of more enjoyable for kids to just kind of watch, as he bends frying pans and bats, and he has conversations about things that we sometimes have a hard time talking about.
So this is the same presenter tomorrow night? And is this tomorrow night more for adults or for students and adults?
Either one.
Okay. Okay, great. And is there something on your website about it or no?
There's information that's on our calendar.
Right, okay.
Posted on our social media.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. That's that. Okay, anybody else want to address the board tonight? Come on. No? Hi.
Sally Zugmayer. I'm a mom of a
Get
seventh
you on the
grader.
And then go like this.
Unfortunately, if you
Very
don't
good.
speak into the mic, it won't get you on the TV.
Sally Zugmayer. I'm a mom of a 7th and 10th grader. Appreciate everything that you guys do. I just wanted to bring up the topic of Dr. Morrow's letter that we just received. I am very concerned about blanket testing all kids at school.
Just so, I'm glad that you brought it up, because I meant to mention it before. We have, from the New York State Department of Health, the Department of Education, the Suffolk County Department of Health, been given an overabundance of tests. So we have offered them to multiple groups. Like, I dropped a number off at the library today. CAST has a number of them. We're going to start reaching out to more of our groups. We are also offering to all of our families and employees. We have no mandated testing with any of them, which it says in the emails to the employees and the letter. I just want to be very, very, very clear, because an email, has nothing to do with you, but an email that I sent home was interpreted by somebody, and these happen to be very emotional times. There is absolutely no agenda when it comes to this at all. We just have 300 tests that people have a hard time getting, and we wanted to give them to people. When we stood in front of the auditorium and tried to give them out, it was, we had a lot of people contact us and say, hey, I can't be there at that time. I have this, I have that. And so we chose to do this a different way. But there is no agenda when it comes to who should be vaccinated, who should be tested, who should be any of that stuff. It's just simply, we have something that has been given to us that we want to share with our community for them to use or not. There's no obligation for anybody to take one. All they have to do is pick up the phone, call the main office of their school and say, please don't send one home with my child. So just, and again, this is nothing to do with you, I meant to mention it before. There is absolutely no agenda with it whatsoever. They're just resources that we have been given that we want to share with our community. They were paid for by taxpayer dollars, and we want to get them out into those hands, okay?
Yeah, I do appreciate that. The letter kindly asks every parent to test every child. So I understand it's not
Yeah.
obligatory. That's great. I love that the tests are available, that people have access, that they are free. Even sending them home with the children, I think honestly, the letter should be revised and amended to say, if you would like a test, we would be happy to send one home with your child, or we can figure out some kind of pickup. I think what you're going to get is a lot of people that just want to follow the rules and do what's right for our school and what you ask of us. And you're going to end up blanket testing a ton of healthy kids. And the result could very well be false positives, an enormous rise in then our numbers, whether they had COVID 3 months ago or they have a new infection. So if you're looking to give our governor an excuse to take more power and to keep masks on these kids for as long as possible, or to force the vaccine, if you want to take the mask off at school, I think this is a really great way to do it. And I respectfully, I'm very concerned.
Yeah. Well, but I just said a couple of minutes ago, there's absolutely no agenda. So categorizing it as me looking to do anything is an improper characterization. If you're saying that might be the end result erroneously, that's a whole different thing.
That is actually absolutely my intention of saying that.
Because
Dr.
characterizing
Morrow,
it.
do these tests, home tests, they're not reported to anybody, are they?
No.
So if a family member wants to test, no one's going to, that's not
No.
a coded thing that
And again,
is
my-
going to be
yeah.
reported
That doesn't go to
Yes.
the Department of Health,
No.
of
Only
Suffolk County,
if
or New
you
York
send it
State.
there.
Only if you send it.
And so if the tests are accepted by the kids and the kids bring them home,
There's no.
do they have to
there's no
complete test
obligated
them and
follow-up.
bring them back?
No.
No, they never
Okay.
come back to us.
The last time it was, right? So
No,
we had the letter come out last time and said anyone that would like one, but if you take one, we need
test,
to
yeah,
send them back,
yeah.
of course, right? We don't want
It's
people to
to
take
use-
tests that aren't
yeah.
going to use them when
I
someone
believe
else
it's to-
needs one.
It's to use for
Yeah.
your own personal.
Yeah, there's no obligation for
Yeah.
anybody.
If maybe someone's not feeling well.
Yep.
You're concerned, you test them, they're positive, you don't bring them to grandma's house.
Right.
I can
Or
have,
you don't bring them to school for a few days. You do with
Yeah.
it what you choose, and
I-
hopefully.
They're going to send a reminder on Friday, and I can have them in the email clarify that.
It's not a requirement.
This is non-required, nor does it need to be reported to us.
Okay.
It's, again, my hope would be that people would use their common sense, which, is lacking in this, in this very emotional time, sometimes it's lacking. So if you're home with your kids, like me, or if you're working, I'll be here working.
Yeah.
I'm not testing, because nothing's different. If I went to Florida for a week, I'd probably test, just because I believe that would be something that could create another level of caution. And I have 2 tests, so if I did test one way, I could test again if I want to, just to check and make sure. So it might be that they're used a month after they pick them up. It might be that they're used a week after they pick them up. It might be that, look, in 6 months, they might expire and never be used. Our expectation is that you guys take them and you use them, to try to help keep your kids safe and keep everybody else safe. We are not asking for them to be reported. We sent no Google link to a sheet for people to report on. There was nothing in the letter that asked them to report. It did say that the New York State Department of Health expects you to report to them. How they police that, I have no idea. We don't police it at all. I can tell you that of all the tests that we give out at school, about a third of them put it on the reporting sheet that we ask them to put it on.
Yep.
Many of them, it's because their kids have symptoms and they just want to show that they tested negative and they can come back to school, and that allows us the opportunity to get them back into school. So that's the use for them. But there is absolutely no purposeful agenda. There is no intent for anything bad to happen. These are something we are giving to people. We found that the last time, the way we did it, it was too difficult for people to get them. Most people don't have the ability to get here during the school day or right after to pick them up, and so we had a very low number go out, and we just want to get them out to everybody, and I want them to make sure they know they're coming home. But we could certainly send a clarification about that in the reminder that we send home on Friday before the kids go home.
Yeah, I think even just saying these tests are available to you if and when you want to use them. We're going to send them home, then you have them at your discretion to be used, when you determine that it would make sense to do so, right? That, I think the language is everything.
Yeah.
And I appreciate your response.
Again, when you write things, sometimes your intention and what you believe it means is not, like, to me it meant, we ask that you test, but, they're yours. So we could clarify that.
I appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sally. Anybody else? No? Okay. All right, that's it. We have our second hearing of Gzug. So we are done to our board member commentary. We will go down all the way down to our student at the end. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
Good. We'll let you start.
All right, sounds good. So yeah, as mentioned before, we have a couple events tomorrow, starting with the assembly through the Ryan's Team Foundation, and I just wanted to speak on that, acknowledge that it's a great thing that the school is doing, having this guest speaker, John Pritikin, come in and speak on these mental health issues, helping students realize their self-worth. Because I think it's safe to say that a number of students at one time or another have struggled, I'm sure, with mental health issues one way or another. So I think it's just a really great thing that the school's doing, having this guest speaker come in, recognizing these issues and showing the importance of it to these students, and just recognizing these issues as a whole. And then another event we have tomorrow at night, run by the student council, is just we have our Soho Olympics, which is just a number of sports. I think we have badminton, volleyball, basketball, and we had teams sign up last week, and it's just going to be a fun thing for the students. We'll be selling some snacks, water, and just trying to raise some money through that, and just a fun thing for the students to do. We have a number of teams signed up, so that's going to be a fun thing to organize. And then just around the school, last week we had our Select Ensembles concert, and then at the start of next month we have our school musical, Chicago, coming up, so some things to look forward to. And winter sports wrapping up. So I think just a lot of things to look forward to right now, and I think the main point with the assembly tomorrow, just the fact that we are recognizing the school's helping recognize these mental health issues, I think is really important.
Okay, thank you. Scott? John?
Not a whole lot, just we had a couple of rough weather days, and I want to thank our custodial staff. They cleared a lot of snow, and the place was open, and they do a good job, and they work very hard, and I appreciate it, and I'm sure the staff, the students, everybody else appreciates it.
Yes, okay. It's nice to hear, Dr. Moore, in your presentation, that some of those very important comments about, even during our pandemic, the things that have always been the backbone of our school were noticed. How teachers care, feel a sense of a belonging, stuff like that. That's important, because even during the past couple of rotten years, it's good that students especially were able to at least feel that they have people who care about them. And that, I do think, is the biggest thing that we offer our students here. We can do all kinds of other stuff, but if we can't give them that, we can't give them anything. Thank you, Ms. Benson and Ms. Oliver, for coming, all of you, to bring resources on such a really hard topic to our students and to our families. You're very brave, Mrs. Oliver. Thank you. And you guys being there and doing this is fantastic. I think especially after the past couple of years, this is really critical for students to be engaged in a way that, how they feel in here and in here really matters. So I'm really looking forward to, I'm hoping I can get there tomorrow night, but if I don't, it doesn't mean I didn't want to. And I'm hoping, I'd like to hear about the students' response to that and how they, what their reaction was. Because I also don't think it's a one-and-done thing. I think we have to continue, especially going forward after what we've been through, to do that. And Sally, I agree with a lot of your concerns. Things in Albany seem to be moving at light speed right now with regulations and administrative rules, and, you know, is the Constitution being followed, is it not? And it's really hard to keep up with it and to know what's, you know, where you stand on a lot of things. You know, data's being thrown around, and then different data's being thrown around and all of that. So, you know, I think it is good to question. I think it's good to question respectfully, and you know, and then we get the answers we need. And I think Dr. Moore is right. We don't personally have an agenda. You know, we kind of just wish the world would wake up tomorrow and things would be back to way more normal than we are now. That's it. Anything else? We have budget meetings, the 2nd, the 9th, and the 20th. The 2nd and the 9th, and a regular meeting on the 23rd. And also, from what I understand, the weekend of March 10th, 11th, or something like that is the school play, the musical? Somewhere around there? When is it? So you guys know, it's right around the 11th, right? Okay, so for all those people watching on Channel 22, make sure you come and see the musical if you can. Thursday the 10th. I knew it was right around there. So, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. It's nice to be able to be, you know, again, getting to see a little bit of live theater again. So
10, 11, 12, 13.
10, 11, 12, 13. All right. If there's nothing else, I seek a motion to adjourn. Second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.